right there? Okay. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this special announcement this morning. I'm Tony Ince. I'm the MLA for Cole Harbour, Portland Valley. And I'd like to thank Colby Village Elementary Pre-Primary Program for hosting us once again. Some of you may have joined us back in spring of 2019 when we announced the rollout of year 3 of the pre-primary. Thank you to the children and to the pre-primary teachers for taking time out to welcome us today. And at this, actually, it's a beautiful day today, a little overcast, but beautiful. In fact, I'm going to say that Colby Village was one of the first pre-primary programs back in the beginning of this program. This was the first location to support pre-primary when it was launched in 2017. This is a program that families in our community have supported since day one. It is a program that they want their children to be in the year before they start school. Joining me this morning is Premier Stephen McNeil and Zach Churchill, Minister of Education and Early Childhood Development. In a moment, Premier McNeil will share some remarks, and following that, Mr. Churchill will say a few words to conclude our announcement. We will be taking questions from the media at that time. Just a reminder, masks must be worn throughout the duration of this announcement, and we have to maintain physical distancing rules all the time. And scrums are not permitted. Also, questions will be addressed from the podium. With that, I'd like to now thank you and say, Premier McNeil, we're looking for your words.
That's the first in 7 years. Thanks, Minister Ensign. It's certainly Principal Com. It's great to be at your school here at Colby Village. Thank you for hosting us. You look like you have a tremendous outdoor classroom behind me. The kids that I had a chance to meet were certainly pretty engaged and excited in discovering Mother Nature here. And I want to welcome all of you to this, what is the final announcement, really, of the culmination of, really since 2017, of ensuring that we had pre-primary all across our province. We have around 400 classes, over 6,000 young kids are in classrooms today as 4-year-olds, which is giving every child, regardless of the socioeconomic circumstances, their best start in life. We can now safely call ourselves a pre-primary province, one where 4-year-olds get a chance to chase their dreams. For far too long, too many of our children are not given the chance to be in an evidence-based program, play-based program that allowed them to learn. As we see behind us, they're better behaved than the House of Assembly. But I am excited, and I'm going to tell you, this is one of those things in government that, quite frankly, I will hold on for a very long time, because the impact of this program and the impact of this announcement we started in 2017, we as a government knew we would not begin to see the real results of this economically for 15 to 20 years. We're starting to see some great results in the beginning, but to see the real benefit of this, it'll be 20 years from now. And oftentimes government don't look out 20 years, they look out 4. This really is an investment in our province to ensure that every young person is given that same opportunity. Many of you know I'm the 12th of 17. I would not have been one of those kids that would have been in one of these programs. Just imagine what I might have become if I had been in one of those instead of doing what I'm doing. But it's a tremendous opportunity, and I'm thrilled for the work that has gone on, and I want to thank everyone in the Department of Education, Early Childhood Education, for working extremely hard. Minister Churchill, thank you for your great leadership. These have been challenging times throughout your tenure as Minister of Education, but this will be a legacy piece. This is a piece for me, for us, for you, that I know for the rest of your life you'll look back on and be really grateful that we were at this moment in time to be able to have this kind of an impact on young lives. I know, and I'm sure you'll comment on it, but the people in your department who have spent a career making decisions around education will be hard-pressed to find a better decision when it comes to long-term educational health of this province than the decision to introduce an evidence-based, play-based pre-primary program in 2017. So with that, Minister Churchill, I want to say thank you to you. Please pass on to your deputy my sincere thanks and all the members of your department. And I'm going to turn the mic over to you.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Premier. To our staff at EECD, thanks for being here. Thanks for your hard work on this file. To Mr. Com and our early childhood educators who are here, Joelle and Nicole, thanks so much for your work here at Colby Village. This is an example of one of now hundreds of classrooms across this province that are providing this really important program to our students. And this program is really impactful in a lot of ways. Not only has it impacted the lives of 14,000 children to date, close to 6,000 of which are enrolled this year. This is important for families, for working families. It's important for the academic, social, emotional well-being of our kids. And this has been important for our economy. We have hired and created jobs for over 850 early childhood educators in Nova Scotia to roll out this program. And I do have to remind people, there was people that told us we couldn't do this in 4 years. There was people that told us we needed to slow down. And I'm very thankful that we had the ambition to proceed as we did and had the determination to get this work done, because we know it's going to have a lasting impact for generations and generations of young people. So the overall investment is $51.5 million now. That will be the annual cost to run this program. Again, there's over 850 early childhood educators that are now employed to run this program. This year, we also have bused our 4-year-olds for the first time. Over 2,600 families have taken us up on busing to and from pre-primary classes. And we now have close to 400 classrooms that are providing the service to students, to 4-year-olds all over the province. There isn't one single school community that now does not have access to a high-quality, evidence-based, free pre-primary program, and that's something I know that makes government worth it, worth it all, getting to days like today. With that said, happy to take any questions that folks might have. Well, the evidence has come in from primary teachers around the transition into the academic learning environment, and it's pretty clear, broad-based, generally speaking, that the kids that are in the pre-primary program are transitioning better into the academic learning environment. They're having an easier time being at school because they've already been around the facility and become familiar with it. There's less anxiety associated with that, and they're also demonstrating better self-regulation when it comes to their own behavior and emotions, and teachers are telling us that they're noticing a difference between the cohorts of students they've taught over the years and the cohorts of students that have come from the pre-primary program. Well, obviously, when things like that happen, that's unacceptable, and the appropriate actions were taken from a disciplinary perspective and to ensure that doesn't happen again. But when you think about where the busing situation was in HRM, 2 short years ago, it's a world of difference now. Considering that we were busing more students with pre-primary, and we're busing more students in general with our change in distance criteria for busing. We're busing thousands of more students in Halifax. This has been, since I've been minister, probably the smoothest start from a busing perspective to the school year. And I think that's a result of some of the changes that we made last year, breaking up the monopoly on the busing contract here in Halifax, and bringing in a new policy that ensured more students were eligible to be bused. So it's actually gone smoothly. You hate hearing stories like that. Obviously, you know, anyone can relate to the stress and anxiety a parent would feel in that situation. But when that happens, the appropriate actions are taken, and that's also an example of the checks that our bus drivers do on our buses after the drive's working. You know, that student was thankfully found on the bus asleep, I believe, by the bus driver. So that, you know, there's also, you know, those checks work, and that's why they're important.
Minister, where does the program go from here? You fully expanded. Like, what more can you do? Either add on, or what's the plan?
Well, you know, I think with any program, you want to continue to evaluate it, keep track of the data that's coming in from the cohorts of students that are entering primary, and make sure that we're keeping up with the best evidence around early learning, and ensuring that our play-based curriculum is reflective of you know, any changes in consensus on how the program should work.
But do you continue to add extra classes where the demand increases?
Oh, absolutely. If the demand increases, we will add more classes. I mean, this program is for every single 4-year-old. So every single 4-year-old in Nova Scotia will have access to this. And if that means, you know, additional hires or additional class space, we'll be mandated to do that.
How has the program adapted this year for COVID?
Following the public health and safety guidelines, similar to the regulated childcare sector, so enhanced cleaning, cohorting, and following the new protocols with drop-off and pickup of kids.
Have you seen any sort of drop-off in enrollment because of COVID? Or is it what you anticipate?
75 students who were enrolled out of the close to 6,000 did withdraw. So very, very small number. 75 out of over 5,900. Yep. Tony's got it.
On an unrelated topic, the EU is asking Donald Trump to call off his trade investigation when it comes to Canadian lobster. Can I just get your reaction to that?
Well, listen, we had believed all along this was a ploy by the U.S. government, recognizing the trade deal that had gone on between Canada and the European Union was a positive thing for the fishing community in our province and in our country. We didn't believe there were any merits to begin with. The U.S. had a trade deal that the current president pulled out of. That led to the discrepancy between the price of lobster in Maine and here. It was of their own making, so we fully support the EU's position that this is not necessary.
Do you think that the fact that the EU has weighed in is going to have any sway with this president at this time?
I think he has lots of things on his mind these days. So, like most of the global community, I'm anxiously waiting November.
What do you mean by that?
Just anxiously waiting for November.
Are you looking for change in leadership in the state?
I don't get a vote. The American people will choose who their next president is and vice president. But I think it's fair to say that the current administration in the U.S. has caused many challenges, not only for Canada but in the global community. But obviously, the Americans will choose their president.
And Dr. Strain last night took part in a panel discussion of all the MOHs of this region, and he suggested that tight restrictive measures should remain in place for the next 6 to 9 months. Does that mean that we are likely to see the Atlantic bubble maintained till next June?
I wouldn't say that. Obviously, public health will continue in the position. We've worked very closely with public health. There's all kinds of circumstances, though, depending on what a second wave looks like, how well the virus gets under control, what the new testing that's out in Canada right now, how quickly that can be turned around. That'll determine quite frankly, when we would open up to the rest of the country, what kind of testing protocols we could put in place. We're working on that right now. As you know, when we brought university students in here, we changed our online portal that we would send an alert out to them every day. We knew where they were. We were able to track them. We were able to identify if there was even if the virus was here or not. So we're continuing to enhance those. We were on the final stages of signing in with the federal government on the on their device for the alert. So that'll happen, and you know we also as a government have to continue to look at the economic health and what is the best way that we can gradually open up our economy to continue to ensure that as we deal with the public health of Nova Scotians and Atlantic Canadians, we also deal with the economic health.
I just want to be clear. So we are going to sign on to the federal government.
I did my job then. You didn't know what I said? That's good.
We are going to sign on to the alert system or the app.
The app, yeah. Yeah, we're in the final stages. That may be finalized today. I don't know. But we're in the final stages of signing on with the federal app.
What's been the reluctance to do it?
There wasn't any reluctance. What we had to make sure was, first of all, what the impact that would be on our own testing regime. So we've looked and seen it. It was in Ontario. We've seen a slight uptick. There were a large number of Canadians have downloaded the app, but the increase in testing hasn't been. It's been about 1 or 2% higher than what it normally would have been. So our lab can deal with all of that. That's part of it. We didn't want to make sure we overloaded our system. We don't think we'll do that. At the same time, you will know we're ramping up our own testing model here. We can do about 1,500 a day. We want to get to 2,500. So if there is a second wave of any substance, we can actually move in and test rapidly and be able to use our own lab.
Bursting the bubble.
Okay, last question, guys.
Is it fair to assume, though, that bursting the bubble is off the table for the foreseeable future?
I think it's fair to say that the bubble won't be bursted tomorrow. Listen, Atlantic Premiers are meeting. We talk every week. There doesn't seem to be an appetite. The question for us will be: is do we go it alone? If the rest of the region doesn't want to do it, we're not there yet. We're not there at this moment in time. I've been struggling with this. What I'm seeing going on in Central Canada has certainly caused us to pause. We're seeing a substantial outbreak in Ontario and Quebec, Alberta, some western provinces. So obviously we need to see that come under control before we would actually do anything. So Nova Scotians don't need to worry about us opening up anytime soon. But I think all of us have to come to the realization that COVID is going to be here for a period of time, and we have to be willing to figure out how to live with it. And that's really where our focus is, on making sure we have the proper testing, what are the most up-to-date technology to be able to respond to an outbreak if it happens in our province. Okay.